Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Your Excellency, the Chairman of Indonesian ESP Teachers Community, Mrs. Luluk Iswati MPD. Your Excellencies, our distinguished speakers today, Mrs. Muthia Farida MPD from IAHN Tampung Penyang Palangkaraya, and Mr. Muhammad Rudy MPD from Universitas Malahayati, Lampung. Excellencies, participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and we are delighted to welcome you to the 5th sharing session of Indonesian ESP Teachers Community. Indonesian ESP Teachers Community provides a great opportunity for teachers or lecturers to share or gain new information about theoretical knowledge, research findings, and experiences in dealing with teaching English, especially for specific purposes. As such, this sharing session will feature presentations by the speakers, which are the cutting edge of session topics. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin the event, allow me to inform you the agendas for today. The first agenda is the opening. The second agenda is the welcoming speech from the chairman of Indonesian ESP Teachers Community. The next agenda is the photo session. The next agenda will be the main agenda for today, that is the sharing session. The next agenda is the announcement from the committee, and the last agenda is the closing. Ladies and gentlemen, to open the agenda this morning, let us all pray according to our respective religions. The praying begins. Done. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the second agenda. We are now going to listen to the welcoming speech by the chairman of Indonesian ESP Teachers Community that will be represented by Mr. Dwi Yenugroho MED. Mr. Dwi Yenugroho MED, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Ibu Rahma Fitria. From Politeknik Negeri Banjarmasin. Good morning, everyone, and perhaps good afternoon for some of us who are now in the eastern part of Indonesia. On behalf of Indonesian ESP Teachers Community Event Committee, I would like to thank you so much for taking the time to attend the 5th Indonesian ESP Teachers Community Sharing Session. We are pleased to be able to welcome you that have been with us for a long time now, as well as those who are new to the ESP teachers community, to our community. And before we get started, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to each committee member who big-heartedly make this event come true. After a long wait, finally, Bapak Ibu, we can again conduct a sharing session where ESP teachers in Indonesia could learn from each other. And Bapak Ibu, we are so glad today because we have dedicated ESP teachers from various places around Indonesia. And in this occasion, I also would like to thank Ibu Rahma Fitrianingsih, MPD, from Politeknik Negeri Banjarmasin, who is willing to become a Master of Ceremony, and Ibu Angesti Palupiningsih, MPD, from Sekolah Tinggi Pariwisata Ambarukmo, Yogyakarta, who is willing to moderate the sharing session. And also, last but not least, I would also like to thank Ibu Muthia Farida MPD from IAHN Tampung Penyang Palangkaraya, and also Bapak Muhammad Rudy MPD from Universitas Malahayati, Lampung, who are willing to share their best practices in teaching ESP and ESP context. We are so looking forward to welcoming other ESP teachers community members, so all of us, to take part as the MC or moderator, and even to share or our best practices in the next sharing sessions. To the best of my knowledge, Ibu Lulu has shared a kind of link to all of us in our WhatsApp group. Yeah, we have a WhatsApp group anyway, and the form asks us our willingness to take part in the sharing session, even to become the MC, moderator, even the speakers anyway. So if you have heart to serve and also to take part in this sharing session, please do that anyway, or feel that anyway. So we are also looking forward for that. And finally, I hope that we can learn many things from this event, which can help us to become a better ESP teachers, Bapak Ibu. And again, I would like to welcome all of you in this sharing session, and may you enjoy this event. Thank you, Bapak Ibu. Bu Rahma, go back to you again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dwi Yenugroho MED, for the very warm welcoming speech. Thank you. We are now continuing our meeting to the next agenda, that is the photo session. So we would like to invite all of the participants to activate the camera. We are waiting for everyone to turn on the camera. And we will start from the first row. So the committee, please get ready to take the photo. All right, everybody is ready? I will count down from 3, 2, 1. Done? Yes. All right. Now we move to the next row. Everyone is ready? Ready? 3, 2, and 1. Done? All right. Let's see. There are only 2 rows, so enough for the photo session. Okay. The committee, should we take the photo again? I think not everybody turned on the camera at the previous photo taking. That's enough?
It's enough.
All right. Enough. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will move to our main agenda for today. That is to hear the speaker sharing sessions, which will be delivered by Mrs. Muthia Farida, MPD, from IAHN Tampung Penyang Palangkaraya, and Mr. Muhammad Rudy, MPD, from Universitas Malahayati, Lampung. And the sharing session will be moderated by Ms. Anggesti Palupiningsih from Sekolah Tinggi Pariwisata Ambarukmo, Yogyakarta. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Muthia Farida, MPD, and Mr. Muhammad Rudy, MPD. And I will hand this session to the moderator. Thank you. Moderator, time's yours.
Okay, thank you, Bu Rahma. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. So once again, please introduce myself. My name is Anggesti Palupiningsih. You can call me Bu Palupi. I'm from Sekolah Tinggi Pariwisata Ambarukmo. And today we are in the 5th sharing session of Indonesian ESP Teachers Community. In these 2 hours, we are going to have interesting topics that will be delivered in 2 sessions. And now let me welcome our today's presenter. Good morning, Bu Muthia.
Morning, Mbak.
How is Palangkaraya today?
Sunny.
Okay, and now Pak Rudy. Good morning, Pak Rudy.
Very good morning, Bu.
Okay, it's good to see you here, Pak Rudy. Pak Rudy is from
Yes.
Bandar Lampung. Okay.
Yeah.
Bu Muthia and Pak Rudy, each of you will have 15 to 20 minutes to deliver your presentation, and we will give chance to the participant to ask some questions related to today's topic after all the presentation. Okay, and Bapak Ibu, feel free to ask any question via Zoom chat box in between presentation. Use the following format: name, and then DAS, affiliation, DAS, presenter to whom you are addressing to, DAS, and finally your question. Okay, but if you want to directly ask to the speaker on mic, question and answer session will be opened after all presentation delivered. Okay. Bapak Ibu, when other professions say that this is the best time to welcome a holiday, it turns out fact that this month is the busiest month for us as a teacher and lecturers. Teachers are calculating score and preparing students' report while preparing school graduation and even starting student admission at the same time. And I'm sure our lecturers here are busy preparing the upcoming Laporan BKD. Maybe we are trying to catch up the deadline of book chapter and then applying to journal and module and so on. However, we cannot do that without energy. And talking about energy is not merely about food or even coffee or tea in the morning, but coming to positive circle like this webinar will really recharge our energy. Seeing other people are motivated, receiving new info, listening to other best practice is really empowering. Especially in this remote teaching condition, we need to recharge our energy more and more. And our today's topic will be very insightful because in the first session, we will have project-based learning in English for tourism. And in the second session, we're going to have striving active learning in English for pharmacy class through data-driven learning. So in this first session, Bu Muthia will share her best practice on how project-based learning gave benefit to her classes, particularly in English for tourism setting. And you will find this topic is very insightful because it is written by Ibu Muthia Farida, MPD, who has spent 9 years in teaching English. And now she is teaching English for tour guiding program of Institut Agama Hindu Negeri Tampung Penyang Palangkaraya, Central Kalimantan. She also has published 8 journals, which 2 of them were disseminated in international forum. They are International Seminar Proceeding IAHN Tampung Palangkaraya and International Conference on English Language Teaching Universitas Sarjana Wiyata Taman Siswa. Those were about the ability of elementary school teacher education program students in designing online learning scenario using problem-based learning method and break the wall, promoting online course for writing class. Bu Muthia got her master's degree from Universitas Negeri Malang, graduated program in ELT in 2016. Before that, she had finished her bachelor degree from Universitas Lampung Mangkurat, majoring English education in 2003. And for Bu Muthia, are you ready?
Yes. Ready.
Okay, for Bu Muthia, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Moderator, Mbak Ngesti. Selamat pagi, Bapak Ibu. So happy to see you here. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to the committee who have invited me to be the speakers today. Well, I want to share about my not best practice actually, but I will say this is the challenging practice that I have ever had. So I think it will be good if I can share it to you, so we can learn each other. We can learn together based on my experience. Let me share the screen. Okay, so it is about project-based learning in English for tourism class. And what I'm going to talk about is first, why PGBL, what is PGBL, and how I implemented PGBL in my classroom, and results of my reflections on my practice, and the last is suggestion. Okay, let's begin with the question why. Why I wanted to try PGBL. So here are some reasons. The first is actually I got inspired from my experience when following Pekerti training program. There, our trainers, the professors, asked us to design a curriculum, design a course plan using, one of them is project-based learning. They said that this is one of the suggestions of by outcome-based education curriculum and Merdeka Belajar to be implemented in these two curriculums. So we know that these two curriculums are actually trying to reorient our curriculum design in higher educational institutions to create graduate profiles with higher order thinking skill, like known as forces skills. So it is to prepare our students to face the demand in 4.0 industrial era. And besides, I also looked at my classroom context in the previous semester. Yes, I taught English for tourism, but the focus was for teaching structure. Actually, it was already there in our classroom or our course description. The teaching of structure, the focus is the teaching structure, but the context is English for tourism. For me, myself, because I was also new here, I didn't have any experience teaching English for tourism, but I still, still thinking about how I taught this class. So it turns out that I gave my students monoton learning activities, like I just asked my students to do some exercise in textbook, just explain about some grammar, then that's it. There was no variation in my classroom. It was also authentic tasks that I gave, so I created some boredom and demotivation in my classroom. I realized that. So not only students who got bored, but me myself as teacher also got bored about my classroom. So because of that, I did my reflection on this on that previous practice. Then I also get inspired from my experience in Pekerti program. It just came across in my mind, why don't I try PGBL in my classroom? So I did some changes in the middle of the semester. I dragged myself to just try PGBL in the rest semester. So with the hope that based on this, I could find the appropriate method, the best method for my classroom. And it is also, I also hope that it could increase my pedagogic competence, because if I didn't try it, I don't know what is the best method for my classroom and for my students. So that's why I decided to conduct this PGBL in my classroom. Next. Okay, here are some reports from researchers in education, and many believed and found that PGBL has many benefits, like it can be motivating, increasing hearts and other soft skills, and so on. And let's talk about what PGBL is. I will start with the development of PGBL. So research literature long time ago have found that engagement and boredom also contribute to learning pace. So it is not always about student quality, but it's also about engagement and boredom of teaching activities that make learning fail. And then also project method that was firstly mentioned about Kilpatrick and Lewis. The focus of attention is student engagement, active thinking, that learning as a process became the the theoretical base of the development of PGBL today. It is also in line with the constructivist views, stating that students will gain knowledge if they have chance to construct their own understanding. In 1990s, PGBL became flourishing because there are more researchers contributed to the feature of PGBL, the concept of PGBL. So PGBL as one of the inquiry-based methods, the emphasis is on the artifact or the end product. So it makes PGBL different from other inquiry-based methods. And here are some definitions offered by some researchers in PGBL. The first is Graduate Blumenfeld, saying that this is a learning method that allows students to learn by doing and applying their ideas and to engage them to real world tasks. It is also supported by Larmer and Mergendler, who said similar to what Krejcik and Burmatfield said. And then Philippi 2001 earlier has already talked about this project. He said that it should be on time limited project. So there should be a target when the project is finished. Besides, Kokosaki et al. in 2016 mentioned specifically about the characteristics of PGBL. It should include students' autonomy, investigations, communication, fieldwork practices. So actually, there are a lot of concepts about PGBL that researchers try to offer, but in this case, I quote from Larmer, Mergendol, and Boss in 2016, who offer the concept of gold standard PGBL. They claim that this is an ideal practice of PGBL. All right, if we take a look at the central part of the diagram, we see that there is key knowledge, understanding, and success skills. This is actually the learning goal. So students are encouraged not to gain the knowledge about the subject, but also to shape their success skills like higher order thinking skill, problem solving, and self-management, so on. And to achieve the learning goals, there should be these 7 elements in the project-based learning. The first is challenging problem or questions. So in the first start, teachers should give challenging problem or question to students in order to give them a purpose for learning. Then sustained inquiry. So project-based learning is not simple as giving students assignment and then students can finish it at one time or within days. So it should be sustained, meaning that they should give opportunities to conduct investigations, then within like a couple of weeks or more. So students still have enough time to gain their knowledge as well as to grow their success skills through the project. Authenticity, yes, it is also important because it will give students the real experience of learning, so that it will be easier for them to understand the knowledge too. So authentic, like meaning giving students the tasks or activities as real as possible, like what exactly happened in the world. Student voice and choice. Yes, it is also important to give students chances to make decision making and speak out their ideas. But in this part, teachers also should give guidance and also coaching. Reflection. Yeah, teacher and students should do reflection on what they have done during the project. It is also to keep the project on track and to reduce the messy. And then critique and revision. These two are needed in the project-based teaching, project-based learning, because by giving critique and also a chance for revision, it will help students improve their work. And the last is public product. So Larmer, Mergendol, and Bose claim that a product that is created in the project-based learning should be something that is tangible, that others people can see it, can use it. So what is the purpose of this? It is, of course, it has positive impact to students because they will try giving their best because they know their product will be used or will be seen by other people, and it will give a sense of pride of their own product because their product will give impact on other people. So this is what project-based learning want to reach in the process of learning. Next. So how I implemented PGBL in my classroom in the previous semester. Right. So the objective of my learning, the objective of this project is to describe about a tourist spot in Palangkaraya in a written text. So they have to make a piece of writing describing about the tourist spots in Palangkaraya. Actually, yeah, I conducted hybrid learning. So there are in-class and out-class activities here. Then it was done in 5 weeks. Yeah, in 5 weeks. So look at week 1. First of all, I will give some materials still about the structure, but then I start with I started with giving students driving questions. The first question is, what can we do to introduce tourist spots in Palangkaraya to people? So this is the driving questions, and followed by other follow-up questions to build discussions with students to help students know their goal of learning. And then I start to discuss the plan of the project with the students. I let them decide the schedule to reduce their burden. Here we set the goal of learning. Actually, there were two projects here. What they did is actually the small project. The small project is making a piece of writing, but the bigger project of this is actually we wanted to make a mini guidebook like buku saku panduan pariwisata in Palangkaraya and if possible in Kalimantan Tengah. So it will be our legacy to the tourism industry in Palangkaraya. Next, in week 2, I formed the group, and then I discussed the options of tourist spots because there were only 7 groups, but the tourist spots are many. So we needed first to list the tourist spots in Palangkaraya, and we had to eliminate some of the options. And here, what was the interesting part is that I let them eliminate. I let them decide which tourist spots should be eliminated based on their own personal judgment, based on their knowledge about the tourism concept and theory. So here, I try to build students' critical analysis. Then in the same week, I asked them to conduct field research, getting data collection in order to get their ideas to write. Here I gave them research guidelines. Next, in week 3, we started to learn about the paragraph development, and then we gathered ideas to write by outlining. Here, actually, students have ideas to write based on their data collection results. But here, I help them by organizing their ideas through outlining. And again, after this class, they make the draft, and then in the same week, I returned their draft with my feedback. In 4 weeks, I asked them to present their research results. So each member of each group should speak to present the research results. And I also gave them oral feedback based on the previous draft and did some reflection. In the same week, I also asked them to revise the draft again. This is the second draft. And then again, I returned the feedback in the same week. Next, yeah, in week 4, actually, it was a kind of busy because we almost ran out of time, because next week it was the schedule for UAS. So in last week, they needed to submit their final product, and I suggest them to post their documentation when visiting the tourist spots on social media. And here is the research guide that I prepare for my students. And here are some postings. So one of my students posting it in her YouTube channel, and one of them also posting it, posted in TikTok account. What made me proud of them is that they were confident to use English here, like the title, and they also gave explanations in English. So that's why we need some kind of activities in order to, to encourage them to use English confidently. Okay, that is my classroom practices. Now let's move on to my reflections. When I did my reflection, so I found that there are some benefits and drawbacks based on my classroom practices. And here are some benefits. Of course, the first one is, yes, it is motivating and engaging because they know what they're doing. They know they will make a piece of writing describing about their tourist spot, Palangkaraya, and they know it will be about, to make a mini guidebook that they will be the authors of the book. And then it also helps students gain their knowledge and make use of it. Like in writing, maybe it will be difficult if I ask them just to make a piece of writing. But here, I gave them opportunities to, like getting data collection, and then through guided writing, I help them to gain their knowledge about writing, and then they make use of their knowledge in terms of making writing products. So it helps them to know and meet their learning goals finally. Then allowing students to be critical in decision making, like what we did, like I have explained earlier, that there are some parts they needed to give decision making, and then it also builds students' creativity and sense of pride of their own craft. This is about how they, for example, make documentation and post it on social media, and how they take photos for the documentation. I think it really could build students' creativity and sense of pride of their own product. Next is growing students' confidence of using English. Yes, like what I have mentioned about the posting. And last is establishing a good collaboration between teacher and students. Here I try to position myself not as teacher only, but also as their guide, as the one who will facilitate them to work on the project. So I try to convince them that it is not about it was not about my project. It was about our project. So we work together here. So I wanted to ensure them that I was here to help them, not only just to teach them. And some drawbacks, yeah, it's not fair if I only mention about the benefits, but also here the drawbacks are needed to reveal. Yes, less preparation, because I thought that my activities were less organized. It should be, have it should be more than 5 weeks, yeah, because the reason is because I also have limited time allocation. And next, the absence of peer on or self-feedback. The researchers in PGBL believe that it teachers should give opportunity for students to conduct peer and self-feedback, because it can help students to build students' critical analysis. But here, I didn't use peer or self-feedback. It was only by me, because I thought that my students' quality, and then because of limited time allocation that I have in my classroom. Next is about grouping. So when I saw my students' final product, I saw that one or two group has, very good quality, while the others are not quite good. So I think that's because they're grouping. Because I asked students to group based on their likeness. So I think it will be better in the next practice. We can group students based on their we group students varying students quality, like more knowledgeable person with less knowledgeable person, so they can help each other in doing the project. And last, no evaluation and reflection at the end of the project. Okay, some suggestion for future practice. Of course, first, be more prepared. And the second one is the project should be feasible, meaning that not too difficult, not too easy, worthwhile, meaningful, and more importantly is also ethical. It means that the project will not harm anyone. Next, chances for students' choices and voices are provided. Yes, we need students' voice and choice here, but again, teacher guidance is still required. And last is consider the gold standard, PGBL. I mean, I know that the ideal practice of PGBL seems like difficult for us, but just try to approach it at least. Okay. And last quote from Larmer, Margendul, and Boss related to gold standard, PGBL. They said that gold standard PGBL is only as an aspirational goal. It doesn't mean to be formidable or discourage newbies from trying PGBL. So I think that just try it first, then we can make our practice better and better next time by reflecting on our classroom practice, with the hope that our practice will get better and better next time. Okay, thank you. That's all from me. Over to you, Mbak Moderator.
Okay, thank you, Bu Muthia. I really highlight the element of essential project design. They are challenging problem or question, sustained inquiry, authenticity, students' voice and choice, reflection, critique and revision, as well as public product. It seems that those will make students really mindfully have the process of gaining new competency, and those process always need student as a counselor. So maybe it's very useful also to strengthen students and teachers bonding, especially in this online learning. Okay, so Bapak Ibu, one more time, let's give applause to the first speaker, Bu Muthia. In the webinar language, it is said to be clap, 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 yeah. Okay, Bapak Ibu, let me remind you that now you can start to type your question in the Zoom chat box using format of name, thus affiliation, thus presenter to whom you are addressing to, thus your question. And for the second session, we will learn from Pak Rudy's teaching experience on striving active learning in English for Pharmacy class through data-driven learning. Let's get some inside secret from somebody who experienced in 3 different English for specific purposes. They are English for Law Faculty of Malahayati University, Bandar Lampung, English for medical purposes at Language Center of Malahayati University, and also English for Pharmacy Study Program of Health Science Faculty in Malahayati University. Besides, he also is the head of academic and administration at Language Center of Malahayati and an assessor at accreditation body Banpaut PNF of Lampung Province. He has 8 publications, 5 of them concerned about English for specific purposes. He also wrote 6 books. He possesses 4 awardees. One of them is that he was awardee of LPDP, or Indonesia Endowment Fund for Education. scholarship from Ministry of Finance Indonesia in 2016. And he also recipient of US graduate universities applying from US Embassy Jakarta and IIEF International Indonesian Education Foundation in 2013. And then he also winning the second place of short story writing at Peksimida, Pekan Seni Mahasiswa Daerah on Criticizing Lampung Tradition in 2012. And he also a finalist of Lampung Best Muslim Student in 2011, held by FPPI Lampung University. Well, Bapak Ibu, actually Pak Rudy has 5 pages of CV, but I'm afraid people will think that I'm the presenter if I talk too more longer. So let's welcome Pak Rudy from Malahayati University. So Pak Rudy, the screen is yours in the next 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much, Bapak Lupi, for a very nice introduction. And I would like to show my profound gratitude to the committee, Bu Lulu, Pak Dwi, and Bu Erni has invited me to share my teaching experience. Pak Dwi said it is our best practice. Actually, it is not our best, but it is what we learn and try to implement in our class. Only like that, simply. Okay. Is my voice clear there?
It's very clear, Pak.
Okay, and then the slide, is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, here, thank you very much once again for everybody. And actually, this is my experience in teaching vocabulary, where I implement DDL or data-driven learning in my English for pharmacy. Here, let's come to the slides. To begin with, let's start the presentation with the terms. Here, I bring up 1, 2, 3 terms. The first is corpus. Maybe on the next slides, you will hear or read my slides consisting the word of corpus. Let's make it clear first, because corpus in linguistic or in language study program will be different with the corpus in medical. The medical term, the medical has a corpus term, and in our linguistic or language has a corpus term too. Simply, corpus is a collection of electronic text. Okay, and it can be written or spoken, which is stored on computer. Later on, what I practice in my class is related to word lists and keywords. And then the next is data-driven learning. Data-driven learning is the use of language corpus or corpora. The corpora is the plural form of corpus, where learners get hands-on experience of using a corpus through guided tasks or through materials based on corpus evidence. And it is very useful for the pedagogical context, as Chambers and Kelly said, that it's related to constructivist theories of learning, and then the communicative approach and the developments within the area of learner autonomy. The learner autonomy drive me to see the last term, that is active learning. Let's go to the active learning. Here, the students will experience reading, writing, discussion, or problem solving that promotes analysis, synthesis, and evaluation of class content. Those are, I can simply make in one line that the students will be like a detective. If you ever watch the movie Sherlock Holmes, my students will act like a detective. They try to find out and try to make a conclusion by themselves. That's the active learning. And then the background why I choose DDL in my English for Pharmacy class, because my students are projected to be able to read. The main point here is read and write an abstract. Okay, it will be lucky if my students are able to write an abstract in English, because most of our students are non-English speaker. All of my students are non-English speakers. Lampung has multilingual people. People from Java and other race are living in Lampung, and they use their own language. And even Lampung has our own language. That's why it's rarely found that the students speak English in the campus. However, in order to understand what they read, the students should have a 98% coverage of vocabulary. So if they read a short abstract, they need to have 98% of coverage. It is based on who and nation. So teaching vocabulary is very crucial for our students, actually, because if they want to master or know the content of an abstract, they need to have at least 98% of vocabulary mastery on the text they read, like that. And then related to the vocabulary sources, actually there are one of linguists has created the word list for pharmacy. It could be used as the academic pharmacy context related to the genre and others. It was created by Professor Grabowski. Unfortunately, when I try to find the word list, it is difficult to access it. Even when I try to contact the professor doesn't reply my email. So one of the solution that I can bring to my class is create my own word list. So in order to create my own word list, I need to build my corpus and then decide the keywords. The keywords is keywords can be said as a unique word that related to the specific subject. It is really useful for the ESP teachers to bring the vocabulary that really match with their specific program. Take for example, the medical students have different needs of vocabulary compared with the pharmacy students. That's why English teachers, especially in the ESP, they need to create the word list. And then how to build the corpus. The first thing that we need is the text, the sources of the text. Here, as the target of the study, as the specific purposes of my teaching in the class is making my students to read the abstract well, comprehensively, and then try to write it. That's why I will search the abstracts and as the source of the text or the corpus, and then I will process it in the software. One of the recommended software is Encom version 4. Lastly, I use Encom version 3. It was the interface was not easy, but the Encom version 4 is easier than the previous version. Okay, those are the things that we need to in order to create our own word list. here, the text sources, I search the text sources in the Science Direct. I focus on the journals, and then based on the search engine, there are 8 journals that is recommended by the keywords of pharmacy. And then after I check one by one the 8 journals, there are only 4 journals that can be used, because the other 4 journals are no longer publishing their articles. Their name still exists on the website, but the issues is not renewed like that. Here there are 4 journals, the blue ones, they are here, and then I chose the issues which is published from December 2021 until the last one is March 2022. Okay, I just create a specific abstract in the specific issues, and then save them in the TXT format. I work on the Notepad program in the computer, and then process them in the software. Here is the software. We can access the software from the Lawrence Anthony's website. It is free. So, as a teacher, having a free software to bring to our class is a really big luck. Because my last research, I used the expensive one, and then it cannot be continued. So thanks for Lawrence Anthony's to creating and making the NCON very useful in my class. And then here, the teaching procedure. First of all, we ask the students to download our materials. We have prepared the abstract here. There are 84 abstracts in this one folder. And then we also download the NCON program and then put it in the Google Drive. And it is I can say the BNC or British National Corpus is optional for students. At least they have the corpus, the abstract, and then the software, corpus analysis. Next is the NCON training. Why we need to train our students to be familiar with the NCON? Because we want to make sure that they use laptop, okay? Because NCON program is only available for the computer like Linux, Windows, and Mac from Apple like that. It is not compatible for Android or iPhone. So make sure your students have the laptop. And then this one meeting can be conducted online or offline. If offline, make sure that your students bring their laptop. But if the students that do not have a laptop, so you can ask the computer center in your campus to do this and then install the program in the computer laboratory. And then, but what I did was online mode. So everybody has been prepared to use their laptop in the home. And then after that, we can identify what problems that may occur during our teaching using the NCON software, because we will fully work on the NCON software. So before we begin the materials, we need to make sure there's no more problem when in the next meeting. I can say we need 2 or 3 times meeting to make everything runs favorably. Okay, here, after that, I made the word list. As you see, the word list consisting of 3,697 words that should be mastered by my students, coming from the 84 text abstract text like this, but unfortunately we see on the top list or on the top rank, the lists are the functional word that really doesn't matter for our students. They consist only articles, conjunction, article the, conjunction on, of, and others, and to be. I think this aspect has been learned by our students previously. So we need to bring, as I said, the specific word that really needed by our students, so that we need to compare the word by making keywords. Let's compare our corpus active4 files with the 3,141 files. So after that, we can find these words, the specific words. There are 655 words that really connected with the abstract, like that, especially the pharmacy abstracts. And then I bring these 3 words in my class. The first for discussions, after for the practice, they practice by themselves and then try to find out on how they understand this word. Okay, for the discussion, we need to ask the students to guess the meaning without referring any dictionary, including the online. So in the discussion, I remind my student that don't look up on your dictionary. Just try to guess based on your experience learning in your program, and then guess based on the words itself. Okay. Interestingly, in the word polypharmacy, okay, one of my students said it is a place to get a medicine in the hospital because his experience in the polyclinic, but actually it's totally wrong. The other students, because it is poly means more than one, so he said more than one pharmacy. All right, that until the last discussion, we conclude that it is more than one pharmacy. But to be honest, I contact the lecturers, and then they provided those 3 meanings. It is based on the practice in the field. Okay, number 1, number 2, and number 3. But the one that is really close with the meaning student B said is number 3, more than one pharmacy. So here, our students are reading the lines. These are the keywords and context lines. They try to find out the sentences that contain the polypharmacy meaning that we have created a conclusion at before. So we one by one of the students are asked to read the lines. The polypharmacy has 19 lines. So until the 19 lines, I asked the students which lines are closest to the meaning. Then they decided this. Line 2, line 15, and line 18. They have close meaning related to the definition of polypharmacy. Okay, after we got those 3, now we can consult to our dictionary. So they have 3 definition here, but let's try to consult to the dictionary. Based on the dictionary, polypharmacy is translated as polyfarmasi in Bahasa Indonesia. And then here there is a note from the Google, because it is about a term in English. So we can read together the simultaneous use of multiple drugs to treat a single ailment or condition. So English is defined with the English too. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Here, then I just copy the term definition here like this. Okay. Polypharmacy is this, and then the definition in bahasa Indonesia is this. Penggunaan simultan beberapa obat untuk mengobati penyakit atau kondisi tunggal. Seperti itu ya. Like that. So it's the definition sounds still formal. Okay. The students even ask me what simultan is. Okay. If you don't understand, let's take a look on the 3 sentences we got from the corpus. Here, the polypharmacy, here, number 3 and number 4, polypharmacy was defined as the regular use of 5 or more prescription medications. And then in Bahasa Indonesia is like this. And then number 4, polypharmacy was defined as the regular use of 5 or more prescription medications. Here, the meaning in Bahasa Indonesia. After learning that, so I asked one by one the students, not all because it's quite a big class. I can say 90% of the students definition number 4 is more understandable compared with the number 2. Number 2 is the term defined by the Google Translate. So I can say, okay, I can say the definition created by the corpus is easier to understand by the student. The other aspect that we can teach to our student is collocation, because the word is not standing by itself, not standing alone. Sometimes the word go with other word. They match with a specific word. It is my experience while I was teaching the general English, the word go and swimming, they match one another. But my student asked me, why should we use the word go instead of do or make? At that time, when I didn't know DDL, I just answered because Queen Elizabeth says so. I didn't know how to answer it, how to explain it, but actually it is a very linguistic knowledge. If I'm not mistaken, it relates to the cognitive linguistic. I simply say because Queen Elizabeth says so. But after I know DDL, I have an alternative answer. I can say it sounds more academic than this one. I can say statistically, it's the way English speaking people say. It is based on the evidence. Let's look up on the corpus like that. Here, the interprofessional word, like it has, if we see the keywords in context, the interprofessional words have the environment is developed, people, teams, and others like this. But statistically, it strongly match with teams. So we can say interprofessional teams has a relation in the terms of collocation. The other word that we can learn in the class is knowing adherence. Adherence is a specific word that usually come in the text of pharmacy. So it relates to the medications as it is shown that by this, right? there are word medication preceding the adherence, and the other word are and. Yes, it's correct based on the statistical medication displays the first rank. Okay, that's my practice, my teaching practice. I have some notes. It is still based on my assumptions. I haven't tested it, or I haven't consulted to the expert like that. So I can say the first one is definition from keyword in context is more understandable than from the dictionary, because in the dictionary the word used for the definition is more formal than what's written on the corpus. So the definition in the dictionary sometimes needs definition again, because I can say it is related to the stylistic, because it is the corpus is based on the writing, so the writing is easier to understand. And then the limited to laptop work, yeah, as I told you before, it cannot be done on the handphone, as our students now more mobile than us. So actually they require the laptop, the mobile phone work compared to the laptop. Okay, even some students do not have laptops, so we need to ask them to collaborate with the students having laptop. And then the third one is time consuming. At least need three times meetings, as I conducted in my class. And the last ones, here the key is students are curious to work with the corpus. They are curious to work with the corpus, at least getting to know with the software, because most students curious with the new things, as the character of our young generation today. And I think it can initiate active learning in my class. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much. And terima kasih, to say thank you in bahasa Lampung. Terima kasih. Okay, I go back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you a bunch, Pak Rudy, for introducing the new and abstract term, corpus, data-driven learning, polypharmacy, and so on. It makes me come to the feeling of struggling 7 years ago when I started to teach English for tourism. I need to read a lot, and I need to come to any seminar about tourism to only find about what vocabulary and what topic should I give to my tourism student, and how do I contextualize the material to meet the authenticity of the materials. And I'm sure that all of you here had this kind of struggling in the first 2 years maybe, but with different way. And talking about DDL, it's so helpful to deal with new term with our students, because in ESP, introducing new vocabulary related to their work field is very crucial. And to make it look achievable, DDL is very helpful. Okay. Once again, thank you, Pak Rudy, for the insightful materials today. And Bapak Ibu, now we are coming to question and answer session. I'll come to written question first. It is from Dewanti Ratna from ITD Adi Sucipto to Bu Muthia. The first question is, Did you implement summative or formative assessment? And then did the student get involved in the formulating the assessment rubric? And was the assessment based on the individual or group? Okay. Muthia, you can answer directly now.
Okay, thank you for the question. Well, the first question is about did I implemented summative and formative assessment? Yes, I did implement it. I did implement both formative and summative assessment. And summative assessment, yeah, in terms of final product, while the formative assessment in terms of giving students feedback, and then I also assess some aspects in the process of project, like their presentation, their PPT, their data collection, their draft. I did assess those aspects. And the second one, did the students get involved? Yeah, the question is, the answer is no. Yeah, I did not involve my students to formulate the assessment rubric. I don't know. I haven't thought about this before. Maybe later next time, try to involve students in my formulating my assessment rubric. And the third one was the assessment based on the individual and our group performance. Actually, it is based on group performance because they work in groups. So usually when students have to do some group work, I give assessment based on their group work. I don't know actually which is more effective based on group performance or individual performance. Maybe other teachers can share their experience about this. But still, I have to look at also for some cases, like in my previous practice, there was one group informing me that there was one member who never joined the group work. So yeah, this student is just gone. So I just gave him a low score for that. So we have to see the condition again. But for me, yes, it is based on the group performance, not individual performance. Yes. The next question. Maybe it is related to Bu Agustina, yeah, about participation.
Okay. One please.
Okay. May I?
Okay, thank you, Bu Muthia, for the answer. Next, the question is come for Pak Rudy from Bu Erni Dewi from Universitas Islam Indonesia. Thank you for sharing your teaching practice. The first question is, do you conduct reflection by the end of the class or by the end of the lesson or by the end of the semester? And how do students react on the application used and vocab given?
Thank you, Bu Erni. Thank you, Mbak Palupi. Okay. Yeah, of course, after teaching, it is a must for a lecturer to evaluate how far our students achieve their achieve the materials what we given, like that. So I made reflections, but it is not a really formal reflections. I just asked the students to read the materials, the abstracts. At the end of the semester, I distribute the abstracts and then ask them to read, and then I gave one or two questions related to the content of the abstracts, like that. So if they understand, and if we want to apply what the nation and who said, 98% of the words of course, we will ask the students to give highlighter on the words they know and then left blank to the words they didn't know. That's the simple way. And we can ask for the comprehension question, what the text or the abstract tell about. And then the second question is, how do the students react on the app use and vocab given? Various reaction from the students. They say it's difficult, and they say it's unfamiliar for them, because most of my students are in the second semester. The exposure of the pharmacy vocabulary from their program is still, I can say, not in a big frequency. So when they meet me in the English class and they need to read the vocabulary in English, especially in their subject, they say it's quite difficult. At the first, they want to look up on the dictionary, but I keep reminding them that don't look up on the dictionary, just focus on what we do. Then we can create a conclusion. You can understand this word. Even they can understand how to use this word and how context, not merely a separated word. Okay, that's for Bu Erni.
Okay, thank you, Pak Rudy, for the answer. For the next question, I will offer to the participant who want to ask the question directly on mic. Pak Benny? Pak Benny, do you want to ask a question? Pak Benny Hamdani? No?
Probably
Okay, no.
Bu Yeni Westipram.
Pak Teguh, do you want to ask a question?
Yes, actually not really asking, but this confirmation, because now I can communicate directly to Pak Rudy, and I just want to confirmation. Maybe I just lost or something. By the way, first of all, thank you very much for both Bu Muthia and Pak Rudy for the great inspiration, because from this presentation I learned a lot. And I have a question. Actually, I have a question for Bu Muthia as well, but I already written in the chat. I have written it in the chat. And then the question for Pa Rudy, maybe directly, I just want to confirm. So the student themselves work with the corpus, yeah, Pak, yeah? And then, yes, only the abstract is inserted, or the whole tag, or the whole article, or from the journal that you ask the student to put or to insert in the corpus? Is it only the abstract?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, only the abstracts.
Oh, okay. And then only the abstract.
If you don't mind, I will show the data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, minute. The screen. Okay, here the abstracts. There are 84 abstracts. Okay, like that. And then let's take a look on number one. So before we process the data, we need to save the data in the TXT form. Can you see the TXT font?
It's only the list of the file,
Oh,
but
yes.
not open. Yeah.
Okay, I will reshare. Here, the abstract one. Okay. Only the abstract. Like this.
Only that.
Yeah. There's no other.
Okay. So
Because
this is done by the student, yeah? They put themselves the abstract to the corpus, right?
No, because no. Actually, if you want to ask them to create the corpus, it means it will take a longer time again. So,
okay.
Okay, because my students are still in the semester 2. They are not very common to read abstract, and then they are not common to find out abstract from the journals. And then because I know the revert journals coming from the Science Direct, so I will make it. I made it by myself in order to get the specific abstract that really connected to their subject.
Oh, okay. Mr. Rudy, maybe I need a workshop with you because I'm so interested in this. Maybe just next time, ESP, if ESP give more time later, you make a workshop on this because it's really interesting, and I do really what in line with what the reasons or the rationale why you put the corpus to teach vocabulary. Yeah. And I really appreciate this. This is really interesting. Okay, maybe maybe later I can just contact you through WhatsApp.
Okay.
I have questions. Do you mind?
All right. Never mind. Just contact me.
Okay. Thank you anyway. So maybe yeah. Thank you, Bu Palupi.
Okay, Pak Rudy, be ready.
Right.
Some of us here need your workshop.
I will be ready.
Okay.
Because
next.
when I was in my master degree, I did the same way, but only for the designing materials. Because I am inspired by the book written by the Jesse Richard, the way that how to build the the things that related to building materials for ESP is the first one is need analysis, and the second one is corpus study. From the corpus we can find the specific language, not only vocabulary, actually the language that we can teach to our students based on their needs. Okay.
And maybe some of us here as a freelancer, as a translator, and maybe it will be very useful for translator, yeah?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, corpus linguistic can be useful in many subjects, including forensic linguistic, translation linguistic, many things. Actually, if I have more time, I will share scale. If the teachers of ESP familiar with scale, have you ever heard scale? Scale is Sketch Engine English Language Learner. It is a corpus machine. Mbak Palupi, do I still have time?
Yes.
Or maybe later.
Later, yeah. Maybe the ESP community member here maybe will really welcome to what is it, like 1 day training managed by Pak Rudy later, yeah.
I mean, hopefully.
And next question is from Bu Agustina, maybe, yeah? From ST KIP PGRI Banjarmasin to Muthia Farida or Bu Muthia. There are always those students who do not involve or participate actively in doing project. What would you do to this type of student in your class, Bu Muthia?
Okay, thank you. So actually, this is also related to the assessment. Okay, maybe we can, give them like penalties first, or just try to, encourage the members of the group to, again, to distribute the students or the group role. So not only one who work, but also can be the other one also get the same opportunity to work on the project. So maybe we can start with, for example, make a small group. The smaller, the better for me, personally, because the small group will give opportunities for all students to get their own role. So that is the first one, and then try to design the task that can contribute to the role, like making videos. So there is one student who do video editing, there is one who will be the director, and there is one who will be the actors. Or just like what I did, for example, in presenting their result of data collection, I asked them, each member must speak. So everybody in the group will have the same chance for doing or giving contribution to the project. That's it.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Bu Muthia. So it by minimizing the group, yeah. And the next question, it's from Pak Benny. Some minutes ago, he confirmed that he got trouble with the mic, so he wrote the question. I think the question is for both Pak Rudy and Bu Muthia. Assalamualaikum, Bu, Pak, mau tanya, jika mengajar mahasiswa program studi perbandingan mazhab, materi ISP-nya apa saja? Dari Pak Beni Hamdani, Universitas Islam Zainul Hasan, Genggong, Probolinggo. Perbandingan mazhab. Materi ISP-nya apa saja?
Oke. Bu Muthia? Or me first?
Okay, trying to respond. Actually, I have no idea about perbandingan mazhab. But maybe you can firstly conduct, needs analysis. Yeah, needs analysis. Just ask your students, like doing through small survey. Just ask students what they want to learn in their ESP, or try to ask ESP teachers that has experience teaching the same course, maybe, or you can also consult to the teacher or lecturer of perbandingan mazhab, so you will get the knowledge about what perbandingan mazhab is. So it will it may give you some image or topics about the perbandingan mazhab. So later on, you can design your course plan based on that information. Okay, that's it from me. Maybe Rudy want to add something.
Okay, I will add up some suggestion for Pak Hamdani. Well, Pak Hamdani, to be honest, we all over here mostly are coming from English education or English department, right? Actually, we don't have any idea on the students we teach, especially their subject or their field. take for example, me, myself, at the beginning, I work in the Malahayati University. I must teach legal English, and then I also teach medical English, and then the last one is pharmacy. So the first one that I want that need to be prepared is asking the stakeholders like head of department or head of the language center regarding the aspect that needed. We create kind of mini need analysis, mini need analysis. We search on what is needed in the future, because mostly we teach the students not for today but in the future. Like me myself, why I teach my students abstract, because I know the pharmacy students are not required to speak up or to write full English, so that, but at the end I know they will do the abstract writing, or at least they need to read abstracts. So I start from the abstracts, and then as suggested by Jack Series Richard, better for us to do the need analysis, and the second one is corpus analysis. When we know, take for example, taking the articles from the Mahzab, perbandingan Mahzab atau ya, we'll try to read the articles related to the Mahzab, and then try to process it in the corpus analysis using the encong that I use in my class is still viable. Then you try to find out the word that is useful for them, the words that related to their field subject. If you have provide those words, but it depends on you. If you have the word list, it depends on you on how you have the teaching technique, whether you make it as a game, make it as the DDL like I did, or making other teaching technique. It depends on you. So that's my suggestions. Making mini need analysis, or the second one is corpus analysis. One of other suggestions from Professor Dia Christina, my supervisor. She is the professor in ESP. She said better for the ESP teachers do a collaborative teaching. Better for the ESP teachers not working by himself. Making consultation, and then do collaborative teaching in the class related to how to manage the student, how to build the materials and others, so that after we have the exposure from our co-teachers, we will know little by little the aspects that should be taught to our students. That's my suggestion for Pak Hamdani.
Okay, Pak Hamdani, that were the answer from Bu Muthia and Pak Rudy. And just for sharing, maybe if I had this kind of situation, and maybe I need to begin the class as soon as possible, I will start with the reading section, Pak Benny. And from that reading, just give the student the text about mazhab. I think there will be a lot of mazhab. Just provide them with one mazhab, and first it is written in English, and doing reading section, and then discussion, answer question, and then discuss the vocabulary, maybe using data-driven learning will we'll need 2 hours maybe or 2 meetings. So it can save us, yeah, for while we thinking about what next to be delivered to our students. Yeah. Okay. Next, I will come up to open mic session. Anyone want to directly ask to the speaker? You may use raise hand reaction. If no one wants to ask
Bapak
directly,
Rudy, I
yeah.
see a message from Bu Yeni Wulandari.
Okay. If
Yeah.
there are no one to ask directly, we come to the next written question. It comes from Bu Yeni. Bu Yeni is from Stipram. She is my team teaching. The question is, do students have more difficulties during this pandemic? Rudy.
Yeah. For DDL practice, as I presented previously, it can be done online and offline. Even my class as well, I did it online. So I think there is no problem because we just work on the laptop. That's my answer.
And the next question is from Bu Yuyun Putri from Polkesma. I would like to ask Ibu Muthia's opinion. What do you think about task-based learning? Is it the same or different from PGBL? In what way, if they are different?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. All right, talking about task-based learning, I also have little information about this basically, but try to respond to the question. Well, I read that task-based learning is a part of inquiry-based learning too. So they are similar in a way that a teacher should provide authentic and meaningful inquiry, but they are different in a way of the end of, the results expected from the student. So like this, task-based learning, you can ask students to act out in front of the classroom. Maybe one becomes the doctor, one becomes a nurse, one becomes a patient, and that's it. Task-based learning is finished. But it cannot be called as project-based learning because there is no tangible product here. Except if the students make a video, for example, about the role play, then they post it in social media, for example, it can be called as project-based learning. So the difference lies on the final results of the learning. Yeah, that's the answer.
Okay, maybe if I can sum up the difference between project-based learning and task-based is maybe from the objective of the competency. Maybe task-based only one activity to achieve one competency, but PBL we need to have some step or we need to achieve we need to have some activity even in some meeting to achieve a competency. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all the question. Let me review. I'm afraid that there is more question. But I think that's all, yeah. Okay. Okay, Bapak Ibu, if we can sum up our today's material into both project-based learning and data-driven learning enable students to be actively engaged in a process of learning because those are emphasizing student-centered approach. And more importantly, it promotes students' autonomy on learning. And I'm quite sure that as a teacher, all of us here will not put students' competency as the only learning goal. But as a teacher or as a lecturer, we will be very satisfied when our student is fully engaged in the process of learning. That was interesting discussion in this fifth sharing session of a nation ESP teachers community. If you are interested in the two speakers today, maybe because any of you teach the same ESP subject, you may go to Muthia Farida at IAHNTP.ac.id for Bu Muthia and www.rudyandwork.blogspot.com for Pak Rudy. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Now we will back to Bu Rahma. Bu Rahma, the screen is yours now.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Angesti Polopiniksi, for handling the sharing session. And thank you very much, Mrs. Muthia Farida MPD and Mr. Muhammad Rudy for the interesting topics and fruitful discussions. Hopefully, the fresh information shared today can be a new lesson for us in upgrading the way we are teaching. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, in case of there were some participants that have not been included in the previous photo session, the committee will hold another photo session. So please be ready and kindly to turn on the camera. All right. We are still waiting for everyone to be ready and turn on the camera. All right, everyone, start to open the camera. All right, the committee, please get ready to take the photo, and I will count down. Ready? 3, 2, and 1. All right, I think it's done. And let's move to the next row. There were 3 rows actually previously, but until the end, many participants were out from this session, so there were go back 2 rows, but it's okay. The second row, the committee, please get ready to take the photo on the second row. I will count down 3, 2, and 1. All right. Thank you very much for the participants and for the committee for taking the photo. Okay. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to listen to the announcement that will be delivered by the chairman of Indonesian ESP Teachers Community, Mrs. Luluk Iswati MPD. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Luluk Iswati MPD.
Thank you, Ibu Rahma. Assalamualaikum, Bapak Ibu. So in this opportunity, I would important announcement regarding our group, ESP community. The first information is the frequency of the sharing sessions. For the next sharing sessions will be held in September and December, and hopefully in September we will be able to invite an expert, and it is still in confirmation. And for the long run, starting next year, we will regularly hold the sharing sessions 4 times in a year, which is in March, June, September, and December. So hopefully Bapak Ibu will be able to participate in one of the sessions to be a presenter or moderator or master of ceremony, and also your other participations, okay, in keeping our group going. And then the second information is regarding the membership. So based on our discussion with the small committee who work behind the stage, we decide that starting September, we will try, to get the electronic card for everybody who is willing to participate as the official member of the community. But because we also have who is able to design the card and also to publish the card. So there will be some charge, so some amount of money, but we are trying to make sure that it will not burden every participant of the group. So yeah, hopefully a lot of you, or maybe all of you, will be interested in becoming a full member of the community, so that hopefully it will be beneficial for your career as a lecturer in your institution and for whatever it may be needed. And then the registration will be opened in August, and for further information we will inform to you through our WhatsApp group. And last but not least, please join our Facebook community and also subscribe to our YouTube channel in ESP Teachers Community, because hopefully it will, we will have some platforms to make our group exist. Yeah, I think that's all, Bu Rahma, the announcement. Thank you very much for your time, and also thank you very much for Pak Rudy, Bu Muthia, Mbak Palupi, and also Bu Rahma, yeah, and also everybody here who has been willing to share and spend their time to participate in this event. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ibu Lulu Iswati, for the fresh information. Very good idea, and hopefully this community will be officially built and we can keep upgrading ourselves through this community. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to remind you one more time to fill in the attendance list that is sent to the chat box in order to attend the certificate for the sharing session. And one more time for your information, the certificate will be distributed to your email within a week. All right. Now we are coming up to the last agenda of our event today, that is the closing. Before we close this session, I am, as a master of ceremony, on behalf of the committee, would like to apologize in case there were some mistakes during this event, and we would like to credit to our distinguished speakers and moderator for sharing knowledge, and also thank you very much to all of the participants for attending this event. Allow me to close the session till we meet again in the next sharing session with other topics and speakers. May all of you have a nice day. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Bu
Terima kasih,
Rahma.
Bapak Ibu. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Terima kasih
Bapak
Bu
Ibu.
Lulu.
Terima kasih Bapak Ibu, Pak Rudy, Bu Muthia, semuanya.
Bu Muthia, Pak Teguh.
Terima kasih.